This is Joe from ArtAlienTV, and I'm going to keep this one short and sweet today. What I've got an old GigaPan here, which I uploaded a few years ago, and I've done a new one here with a lot more information in it and bigger clips and that kind of thing. And this is Sol 984, okay? And this was taken by the Mars Science Laboratory, which is a Curiosity rover. And what we have is an exposed burial chamber. Now, I may have shown this years and years ago, but I can't remember whether I actually shown this particular part of the image up close before. I may have shown it a clip of it in a video once, maybe for a few seconds. I don't know. Probably did, but I've never shown it really up close. And I've got some nice close-up clips here. Now, what we have when we go in close is a chamber entrance with somebody inside. And there's even something else behind the person inside there, like sticking up, okay? Now, I'm not saying this is a living person. What I think this is, here's the raw image here. That's the raw image, right? If I go back a bit, I'll use the magnifier and point it out to you. What I think this is a burial chamber with either a mummified head or possibly a sort of burial mask or something like that, or a sarcophagus that's in a standing or sitting position. Who knows? It's hard to say. There's not a great deal of detail in here. It's in shadow, but it's reasonably bright in the raw image here. You can see it quite well. And what we have here looks like a head, which, like I said, may well be a burial mask or an actual preserved head. I don't know. There's not enough detail to say either way, right? And there's something just to the side of it here, and then something behind it inside, and we can see like a kind of roof part here inside. Okay. Now, when I zoom out, I'm going to show you the overall area. Okay. Now, I've got the new GigaPan here, and this is the older one, which actually is a bit brighter, right? It's not as colourful, but it's a bit brighter. You can see some of these things better in one than the other, depending on what part of the image you're looking at. Okay, there it is. Now, how high up is this? I would say about 20 feet up, maybe 15, maybe 25. It's somewhere around 20. It could be 18 or something off the ground. But the slope is all kind of buried in rubble and sand. So what we have here is what looks like a sort of very ancient cliff edge. And similar to the Valley of the Kings in Egypt, we have chambers dug into the cliff edge. And the cliff edge is eroded away. We have all this lateral erosion. This is caused by wind, right? So this thing is extremely old, I would say, judging by the amount of erosion here, right? Look at these lines going across here. A lot of it's cracked. Now, this is one chamber, and I'm sure there are more here, but this is the only one that's really clear. I think a lot of them have kind of broken down. There's probably one here as well, and another couple over here further along, and one or two back here, but they're either filled in or just fallen down. It's all kind of eroded and collapsed, okay? So at one point, this may have been an extensive burial area just here with a whole row of chambers, but there's only kind of one main one left in the middle here. It's actually clearer in the raw image on this one. So if you go above to the raw image, it's a bit brighter. I don't know if it's clearer, but it's definitely brighter. And then we can see there that there's some kind of head in there with some detail behind it as well, like an object sticking up behind inside the chamber. So we're actually seeing right into the chamber. You can see that head, and then you can see an object behind and something down here as well. Okay? And there's a weird thing sticking down here by the window or chamber here, just here in the corner. Let's go to this one. This is the enhanced version. I'll go back a little bit. This is mental. I've shown many chambers before, and they're usually a lot of them are on the ground or just on the side of mounds and stuff. But this one is quite intact because we have. I think that's probably just a shard of rock there, this kind of cracked, this weird triangular thing sticking down. But basically, we have an exposed burial chamber, it seems, anyway, with a burial in there which you can actually see into, right? You can actually see a mask or head there with an object behind, but you can't really make out what the object is behind there, but there's something going on, right? Now let's have a look on the older one. This is the older version I did years ago. This is actually a little bit bigger, so you can get in a bit closer. I'm not sure if it's any clearer. But you can see there's something behind it, just there. It's got a nose, it's got a thick brow ridge. I can just about make out a nose and a mouth. I mean, it's just crazy, right? And if you don't believe that, well, you're not going to believe the rest of it either, because there's loads of other things here as well on the ground. But the main two things that I showed originally in the original video I did this years ago were these two things on the ridge behind in the background, right? Now, they are situated up here and they're quite a long way off, right? There's one there on the left and one on the right, just there. Now, you wouldn't notice that unless I pointed it out to you. There's one of them. You can see the nose and the mouth there. And there's the other one over there on the left. Which is actually a bit clearer because it's brighter there, lighter material, right? Pointed nose. Now, I'm not sure about this one. This is weird, but it's got a sort of ear part there, oval shaped. I'll show you the enhanced clips I've got. All right, let's go back to this one. So there's the one on the left, right? This one here. Now, is this a burial? Or is this a carved mask or burial mask or an actual skull or someone wearing a helmet? I think it could be someone in a helmet, just here, right? Now, it's a bit weird because there's a light part right next to it on the left here. As you can see in the raw image there, right? Just there. Which kind of makes it look a bit odd. So there may be a partial optical trick going on here where there's light material obscuring some of the edge detail or something going on there, right? So I'm not quite 100% about the edge of that, but it is an interesting object either way. And then this one is absolutely crazy because when you enhance the colour on this, it's got blonde hair and looks a bit like Shrek. And this is kind of troll-like looking Martian. And I have shown other similar things to this. When you kind of brighten this up and colour correct it, it goes blonde. Like really light blonde colour. Now you can just about make that out in the raw image, but these are obscured with an orange filter. But when you remove that filter, this is what comes through. Absolutely insane. And just in case you don't believe those two or the other one, here are some more, right? Now these are nearby, I would say within a few hundred meters, I would say, of these that I've just shown you. We have a helmet here with a head still in it. You can see an eye there. You've got a mouth here and a nose with some breathing apparatus or something similar attached to it, just there. Right? Or part of the helmet coming round like this. Okay? And just in case you don't believe those are real, there's a couple more here and another one here. So I've added some extra examples of similar things just to show that these aren't a fluke and these aren't just a coincidence. There's quite a few of these around that I've shown over the years. And a lot of them are wearing helmets or have breathing gear or things coming out of their nose or mouth, which, as I've said before, suggests that there were people on the ground fighting each other after the cataclysms on Mars, which largely destroyed the atmosphere and had to wear breathing gear, okay? Because we have one here on the left, which is very different looking. This one here, which has a tube coming out of its nose here, and the skull coming up like this. Very different looking, that one, right? Then we have the one I just showed you with the breathing gear on its nose, which is more humanoid. Looks like a quasi-human anyway. And then we have another one here, which looks like a soldier in a full helmet. And you can see actually where I've colorized it, you can actually see what looks like eyes and facial detail here. But there's also some kind of gear or something that looks like it's attached here as well. So we have 3 examples there of dead aliens with breathing gear, right? In their actual helmets. This one's broken, I'm sure. This helmet is completely broken, the middle one. But this one's largely intact. Okay? And there's lots of examples of helmets I've shown. Now, this is just a handful of them. I've got about 30 or 40, I think, now. And I've been finding them in the Jezero crater as well, which is thousands of miles from here. Okay, so they're all over the place. So there was obviously a war on Mars, and there may have been many wars on Mars. And as I've said in some recent videos, I think there may still be some low-level conflict going on the surface, because we keep seeing. I've shown a number of UFOs that are coming close to the rover, and are scanning it and keeping an eye on it. They can probably pick up the radioactive signature of it from quite a long way off, I would say, because it's radioactive. It's nuclear powered. Okay, so it would be giving off quite a signal that they'd be able to pick up from a long, long way off. That's just a fact, right? And then there's this one as well. This is just a soldier. This one doesn't appear the same as these, but it does seem to have something coming out of his mouth, this one, rather than the nose. This one here has, there's the eye, there's the nose, it's just a cheek coming down. We've got a helmet with a cheek guard coming down here, like this. And then we have something sticking out of the mouth, just there, like a little tube coming out, just there, okay? It's a bit hard to focus on. I'll go in a bit closer for you, but you can see that this is the head here lying down on the ground. And you can see this complex detail by the mouth there, just here, okay? And this has been flipped around and then enhanced colour, right? If you get too close, you can't see it very well. It's best to sit back a little bit. So we have a bunch of what look like exposed burials here. And the amazing thing about this one is we have an actual chamber as well. Now, the ridge with the chamber on it, or the little cliff edge here, like I said, is probably about 15, 20 feet altogether, about 20 feet. And this thing's about halfway up, 2/3 of the way up. So that's probably about 15 or something. And then there's quite a long way down. We're not seeing the very bottom here. Now, this is looking in one direction. And then when the rover turned the camera round, it was looking at this area here, which is where those heads are in the distance on this kind of ridge at the back. Okay, that's where they are. So we've got a mixed bag of stuff, and as usual, I always try and show things that are similar that have been found in this not far from here to prove that these things are not a fluke. They're not just a coincidence. Okay, so thanks for watching, everybody. Follow the links below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon. Clips coming up now.